What's good, YouTube? Welcome to East Coast Styles channel. It's your boy Jones Blends, and I'm gonna be giving a video today on a mid-ball fade. I'm gonna be going through all the steps, talking through the video, but I'll be talking and giving you guys a walkthrough and everything. What I need y'all to do today is like, comment, and subscribe. If you don't do anything else, subscribe. Comment below also and let me know what you guys are interested in, kind of videos you guys want to see. Help me help you. I forgot what I was about to say. What I'm going to be doing on this channel is basically tutorials, just like little highlights of different cuts that I've done. I'm gonna have a lot of shorts on here just so you guys can see like finished products, before and afters. So make sure y'all comment, make sure y'all like this video up, help me get to my first 1,000 subscribers, and let's get to it. We are walking into Uptown Barber Studio. This is where I cut at. You know what I'm saying? Let's get to it. Alright, y'all, so what we're doing right here, we're going ahead and combing through the hair just to make sure we get all the tangles out. And we're also trying to find the wave pattern just so we see where it's laying, how it's laying, so that way when we put clippers to it, we're good to go and we're not going against the grain. Alright, y'all, so right here what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get that ball line set. I always do the ball line first before I even put a clipper to it, just because I'm going to get rid of that hair anyway, so why cut the hair down and then cut it off anyway. Alright, so now that we got that ball line set and we got all that hair off, I'll go ahead and take my 1.5 guard and I go with the grain all over, and I get all the top on where we're going to start to fade at. I get that all knocked down to the 1.5, so that way everything is laying nice and smooth. Another thing, guys, when you set that ball line, it doesn't have to be perfect. Mine may look kind of off a little bit, but it doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to fade it away and you're going to get rid of it anyways. But we just want to get it just basically like a guideline for us to start and knowing where we're going to start to fade. Alright, y'all, so right here I'm using rubbing alcohol. I basically use rubber alcohol right before I do my edge up, just because it dries the skin out and it makes the skin give a crisper line with the ash line and everything, so you don't have to use the pencil and everything like that. So here we're laying down the hairs on the outline, on the edge up for the hairline with a foam. It's called Flex Foam. You can get it off of Instagram. I'll put the barber's link in the description. But that just basically helps lay the hair down. We're gonna get a hot towel, and here shortly, right now, in about like 2 seconds, I'll be showing you the bottle, and this is exactly what it looks like. And then we'll get this hot towel, and we'll get them. What you want to do with the hot towel is basically, once you put that Flex Foam on, it's basically like I said, a shampoo, and you put the hot towel on to kind of open up the pores and get that shampoo working and getting that hair laid down and smooth, so that way when you go on it with the trimmer, it gives you that nice crisp good line. Y'all, so what y'all see me doing here is basically using the towel as kind of like a brush, as you would say, as you will. Basically, I'm just laying the hair down with the towel and the heat from the towel and the moisture from the towel, pushing the hair down, making sure all the hair is laying down flat on the hair, and especially right there at the outline where I wanted to lay over top of that hairline, so that way when I use my trimmer, it's easier for me to make that crisp line. So now what I'm using is holding spray. It's from Bandino. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have heard of him, but I can also put his information in the bio. And now I'm using, it's called a Barber Outline Trimmer. It's basically like a spray, and it's basically like another holding spray. So I like to have my outline crisp, so I use that stuff so that way it dries out the hair, it makes the hair stiff and the skin dry, so that way when I go to put that outline on there, it gives me that ash line that I would desire. Once you get all that spray on there, you want to go ahead and use that blow dryer to kind of help dry it faster. I'm also pulling with my finger. I'm pulling down on the hairline, so that way, because I know a lot of people like to look up at you when you're doing it, so I cover the eyes and I pull that skin down, so that way that skin is nice and tight. Now we're going with the trimmers. I'm also taking that brush, making sure all that hair is laying down over top of the hairline, and then I'm going to go ahead and get that started. I always like to start from the middle. For me, it's easier. Any other barber, you do your preference, but I always start from the middle, because I always feel like if I go from the middle from one side to the other, to the corner, and then I just basically mirror it on the other side, it's easier to get that straight line straight across. But if I start from one side and work my way all the way to the other side, I feel like it's a zigzag. That's just my personal preference. Every barber outlines differently, but if you guys want to follow me, by all means. If not, you guys can continue doing what you guys are doing. If you guys are still here, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, that like button, that share button. Help me get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm gonna just go ahead and fast forward this so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing, but I'm just gonna speed it up so that way you're just not watching me do this for another 5 minutes or whatever. Alright guys, so here's where I use my enhancements. Yes, I do my outline and my hairline first before I do any fading. I like to do it like that because it just gives me, once I get the crisp hairline, it gives me that area of limitation for where I need to have my fade at, especially when I'm doing like a mid fade or a low fade. I like to have that outline already done, so that way I know how to gauge how I want my blend to basically be leveled at. So as you can see, I'm not spraying too much. I'm just basically spraying just enough to kind of darken the hairline up. I know a lot of people like to use it and make sure that the outline is dark and like really like pungent. I'm not too much. I like the natural look, so it just a couple sprays from the air compressor does works. Now once I get that spray on there, I go ahead and just go back with my trimmer and I go ahead and get that line a little bit more crisp, just because once you use that spray, sometimes it likes to overlap. Even though you're using like a tracer, it still likes to spray and splatter just a little bit. So I always like to go over with my trimmer just to make sure that I got that line crisp. That's my most important thing, is make sure that line is crisp and sharp. Alright guys, so let's get into this fading. So I start off with brushing it down. I go ahead and attack it with the half open. So I go ahead and get that bottom line started, and then you go ahead and get it all the way. So I do it in quarters. I do one side, then I do the other side, and then I do the back. So you'll see in this video how I work mine, but it just helps me get my blend even. So now once I get that open, I'll go ahead and close the guard so I can get that bottom line that I use with the trimmer. I can get that washed away and basically erased, and then I'll open it halfway, so it's basically like a quarter way up, and then I'll just go ahead and attack that little small line that's still there, and it should come out looking like that. Alright guys, so what we're using now is a 1.5 open. We're using this basically just to kind of kill all of that excess bulk that we had from when we used the 1.5 with the grain. Using this is just basically cleaning it up so that way when we go to finish out that bottom line, it's just a nice prettier blend. Alright guys, so what we're doing now is we got that one open. You always want to start open. Basically this one open is just basically softening up that bottom line that we're going to attack next. So you always want to start open, and as you can see, I'm open and then I'm gradually closing. I go to halfway open and then all the way closed. Alright, now so we at that half guard like I was talking about. So now we start open. We always start open. Start open and you just gradually close it. I always start open, then I go halfway open and then fully close. As you can see, it's already starting to disappear. So by the time we get to the half guard close, we should be able to have that line disappear. We're also going to do some cleanup too. So in the beginning of your fades, if you still see a line, don't worry about it. Get all the way through your fade, and then at the end, that's when you want to do cleanup, because once you have the whole head faded, then it's easier to see your spots where you need to erase a little bit more or fade a little bit more or get a little bit higher blend or a deeper blend or anything like that. So don't worry yourself too much when it comes to the beginning of the fade, because the fade comes together at the end. Alright guys, so I'm on the other side of the head. I'm basically going to just speed through all of this just so you guys can see it and you're not just sitting there watching me explain the same thing. Basically doing the same thing. This side I'm actually working from bottom up. It's just a different technique. Like you guys can see it and watch it, but I'm not going to go through it because it's basically using the same guards, just basically working backwards. And like I said, I go from one side to the other side, and then I'll clean out the back. The back is always the easiest part, and because it's always just the smallest part. But I just like to do it in sections. It just makes my fade easier for me to blend. Alright everyone, so now here's the cleanup that I was telling you about. Once I got both sides done and the back done, I looked around and I spun them around, and I seen that there was some spots where I wanted to clean up just to make the fade just a little more blurrier. The blurrier the fade, the better it looks. So you see how I still had that line back there, so now I'm working through that line, getting that line out. And I'm just going all the way around the head, just making sure that every part of the fade is blurry enough. Sometimes you may get a line or two that you don't see, but once you start on something else, and then you always want to go back and check. You always want to check your fade about 2 or 3 times. The first, in the beginning, when you're doing your cleanup, and right before you let him out that chair. So here he wanted just the goatee and the mustache. So what I'm doing is basically all the extra hair that's on his face, just cleaning it up, getting it off, so I can have room and see where I want to mark that actual goatee and the mustache. So I'm going to speed through this as well, just because it's just trimming and outlining. Um, Basically, you're just following the contour of their chin, and then following the lip, depending on how they want it. If they want it thick, then you try to keep it as thick as possible for the mustache, and if they want it thin, you just bring it down a little bit more. But you'll see how I go through that. We're just gonna speed through that. So now what I'm doing is getting ready to do the straight razor on his outline and around his mustache and stuff. So I always get the headrest, and then I put a paper towel on there just so that their head is not touching directly onto the headrest. Once I get that, then I go ahead and have him turn his head from side to side. That way I have a better angle. So here I set him up and did his mustache. I don't really like leaning over people like that. I don't know, maybe it's just a preference of mine. But I don't like leaning over people, so I like to set them up so that way I'm just standing in front of them with the mustache versus my whole body kind of like leaning over them, drenched over them. Now, if he was getting a full facial shave, then yeah, it's a little different because it's part of the steps. But right now, just to get the crisp, nice, good line on the mustache, I'll go ahead and just set him up and get it done. Alright, y'all, so I'm doing my final check. Got my brush, my little duster, neck duster. I'm just dusting off all the excess hair. Just making sure that everything's good. And here's time for him for the final view. Boom. I know y'all see him. He's like, woo-wee. Yeah, already. Alright, y'all. So like I said, if you guys made it through this whole video, I appreciate y'all for sitting and watching and listening to me. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Ball fade, we out of here.